Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I am thirsty. I just had a massive stir fry and it's full of soy sauce. And I'm really thirsty, and I nearly went and got a glass of water to drink because that would make it better, obviously. And I just thought, what if I don't do that and just deliberately make this a bit more difficult and turn the heating up and like zip up my fleece? So that's what I've done. I'm thirsty. It's really hot in here. It's getting hotter and I'm quite uncomfortable. And I quite like doing things like that in lots of different ways. Just see what happens. And then like it just means that when I have a glass of water after this, it's going to be so nice. And also it just means I feel like I'm kind of like on the ropes straight away with this live stream, with the conditions that I have been put under by me. So I thought I would just start off with that and welcome you all to my little live stream. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, also welcome. If you're in the future, hello. Hope we're all still alive. Come and say hi in the comments if you're in the future, or if you're watching this live, or just you don't have to say anything. My name is Adam Sutherland from the Highlands and of Scotland, and I'm a student of music. I also do it for a living, but first and foremost I think of myself as a student. And just what I was thinking just before I went online was, as well as thinking I'm thirsty, I was just thinking I just don't really know what I'm doing. I have that thought many times a day, and I don't think it's a bad thought to have. And I'm someone who's spent a lot of time writing music, and I don't really know what I'm doing each time. I have things that have worked, but I just kind of like each time it's a new tune, I just don't really know because I haven't done it yet, and I feel like you gotta be okay with not really knowing what you're doing. That's my thoughts on that. So this week I haven't planned this beyond just the subject matter. I never really do plan it beyond the subject matter. As you can probably tell, this week I'm going to look at a tune that I wrote sometime before 2012, because that's when I released my first solo album. November 2012 actually was when I recorded it in front of a live studio audience. Myself and my bandmates, Mark Clement, Ian Copeland, John Spears, and myself, a wee four-piece at the time, before we later added Hamish Napier and John Somerville for the second album. But it was the four-piece, engineered by Barry Spad Reed, co-produced by Mark Clement, and we went to Ullapool in the Northwest Highlands. Beautiful place. I feel like I've probably spoken about Ullapool in past episodes. And we just thought, I just thought, how would I didn't want to get like a really overly polished studio album. I wanted to capture a performance, so I put the opportunity out to buy tickets to come and watch my band and me record the album. So that's what we did. We also included dinner. So we basically got crammed into this little space in the Cayley place called the Clubhouse, and we had the studio set up. We were there all week, and the punters came in on the Saturday, I think it was, and we just recorded it, and they sat there very quietly and watched us do it. Then we had a full run through, And then we had a massive dinner, surf and turf, up at the Cayley place. Just gorged ourselves. And then went back over the road and did it all again. And then had a bit of a party. So that was my first solo album. And of course, solo is a bit of a misnomer because of the other fantastic musicians that I had the privilege of performing with. So that's how we did that. And at the very end of the album, you finally get to hear the audience members clap at the end of the last track. So yeah, it was a really fascinating experience to do that. I guess that was some interesting production values. Not very relaxing, but it wasn't supposed to be. So yeah, a bunch of my own tunes. Just noticing in the comments here, we've got Michael Bishop. Hello, Michael. Good to have you back here. And Eric Davison. Hello again. Eric's saying the week has flown by. It has. So this tune. Please let me know about sound quality. If this is distorting at all or if it's too quiet, I would really love to hear about that. So I'm going to play this tune called Europarty. I'll just tell you a little bit about how I kind of wrote it. I increasingly feel like I don't think it's just me. My best way of writing tunes has been to not be trying to focus on writing tunes, but try to focus rather on just learning how to play the instrument. Thank you, Michael. Says sounds good. Learning how to play the instrument, and then kind of just stumbling across some phrases that I end up going, oh, I quite like that. I have written tunes by deliberately writing them, and that's actually worked out pretty well sometimes as well. But it's quite a nice thing, I find, to take the pressure off actually writing something by not actually trying to write stuff, just trying to get on with learning how to play the instrument. Because you just end up stumbling across stuff. You just do. So I think I was trying to teach myself spiccato bowing, which is kind of like okay, and I stumbled across just so often happens I just get a seed phrase. It's just a little phrase that I like, and I just found so I found the first phrase like that and just shunted it all up one note instead of going there. Went and then it was like, okay, we're off. And what I then do is I just try not to rush writing the tune. I just sit in these, whenever I get a question and answer phrase, I just sit in it for ages. And I usually have a fair amount of ego impulses coming into my mind wanting me to get on with it and finish it and make good, and when they take over and win, then it is not ever really any good. But if I just listen to them, observe those thoughts but don't actually act on them, then usually what I'm writing will go a different path to the one that the ego wants. I guess it's kind of like mindfulness, you know, you are not your thoughts, you're just the observer of your thoughts. So then I was thinking, like, what could the next phrase be? That one again. But then I think I went for a kind of a, what if I just keep going down? I'll show you what I mean. So just like, it's like going up. Just kind of keeping going. And that keeping going phrase slightly interrupts. And again, as soon as I got that, I just like, right, just chew on that for a while. That's my second time ending. Going up. You know how the first phrase goes up, second phrase goes up, then the kind of ultimate answer phrase just a bit higher with a bit of a different rhythm. So question, answer, question again, second answer going down instead of up. Then it's back to question, answer, final answer goes higher than anything that's happened yet, but also following the same pattern, and this has got a syncopated rhythm. So that's the first part, found by just practicing spiccato bowing. I suppose there's a bit of contrast there. When you're going, that's 3 notes, quick notes that are big leaps. That's a fifth. Then minor sixth. Short amount of time, big leap. Followed by just down by small amounts. Okay, that was it. And then just like, I suppose I was probably feeling quite excited about this point. How can I get a B part? And then what I did there for the B part was something which I think nowadays as a writer it's a bit of a weak thing to do, but it worked here, and that is to start your B part with the same thing that you started your A part with. Usually these days I'd be like, right, I'm not going to do anything like the A part, I'm going to just try and get as far away from that as possible. But I guess this kind of worked, so I started with the B part again with, but I suppose immediately it's like, right, how can I make this different? So what I did was I just kept with the going down thing. So it's just like, so I just continued it. So that's the A part and the B part. that's it. It could have been just that. And then I just thought about a third part, and this does depart from the now overused. I couldn't do a third part starting with that, or even anything like that. So I've gone for. I always find this third part really hard to play. So the first part, for anyone's interested, chords, it's very much in D minor. That's the notes of D minor, D, A, and F. And then it's G minor. Same for the second part, very much D minor. So this third part is kind of going to, it's almost going to F major, but the first chord is a B flat. Arpeggio, first inversion. Whether or not you're totally getting all those chords is not as important. It's more just realizing I thought it needs to be happy. So it's happy chords, really. But finishing back in D minor again. There's no finishing on a happy chord. Cheesy ending. Looking at some of the comments, Michael Bishop says, keep changing bowing on the final part. Yeah, my bowing in every tune I play is, when I've tried to write it down, like I think I've said to you before, I try to write it down for anyone. It's just always, I can't seem to settle on one way of bowing it, which is a bit maddening, I think. Well, do you want to know what that is? apart from being annoying, that's my my carbon dioxide detector. Stop. I don't even know how to turn this off. It's been a while since I've had a kind of major tech challenge. Regular followers of my channel will be more than familiar with my technical issues, which have been hilarious. I didn't even think that thing had a beeping thing on it. Hey Jessica, time's up. Yeah. Yeah, it's the machines are saying, like, okay, time to wrap this up. Thank you for being humorous about that. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing with Boeing. So I wrote this tune and I was just like, I just went with what the melody seemed to do. I didn't set out to write some kind of like vaguely European sounding tune, but that's what came out. And then, as has happened to me often as a writer, I've written a tune and I'm just like, what the hell is that? Like, I just feel like it would be egotistical and pretentious of me to like try and make this tune sound Scottish or make it, fit in. And I feel like I've said this before on this channel. It's just like the tune just wants to go where it wants to go so often. And yeah, I would encourage you all you writers out there, to, if you have this battle of like the tune seems to want to do something and maybe that's not where I want it to do, but if you can hear where a tune seems to want to go and it's maybe not necessarily where you were trying to go, isn't that kind of an interesting thing? So yeah, this tune came out and I don't even know what kind of tune it is. I just don't know. So I just called it Europarty. So that's it. That's Europarty from my album. The album's called Squall, and the thumbnail for this video I used the album cover, which was done by the, frankly, just spectacularly talented, skilled artist and musician Sorley MacDonald. Sorley, the album's called Squall, which was named after my favourite weather, which, if you don't know, it's just you're having quite a nice day, then you might look down the loch and just see some really angry weather coming towards you, and it's quiet and calm, and then suddenly it hits you and it's like, wah! Hail, rain, wind, very intense but also short-lived, and then it's gone. And I just thought, I relate to that on lots of levels, and also I just love it from a musical point of view, because my favourite pieces of music have got a mood change. It's one thing and then it's just not, it's just the other. So I feel like it's calling it Squall was not so much necessarily about the intense emotions of that kind of weather, but also about the change, because it's nice, then it's really not nice, and then it's really nice again. And I just love that in all art, like music, film. I love the transition from one thing to another. When I went to the Panto as a kid, I used to be fascinated by scene changes. The lights would come down and you see these figures run out on the stage, sliding stuff around as fast as they could, trying not to be noticed. And I always found that more interesting than the actual play, was the transitioning and what was required there. That just really caught my attention. A couple of comments I'm going to look at. Jessica, hello again. I wonder if you realise if and when other styles influence your composition, or it just happens from the subconscious. Do I realise? I mean, I think when I'm writing a tune, like for example this one, it's just like it comes out and you do kind of start to kind of go, well, what is this? But I don't know if I sometimes I might recognize, oh, that sounds a bit Eastern, or that sounds a bit country or something. Country and Eastern? Is that a genre? Country and Eastern. But it's always like, yeah, I guess it's probably a subconscious. We're all just like being bombarded with stuff. I hope that answers the question. Thank you for that. It was a great question, baby. Hello, Gavin. My problem, he says, is sometimes the tunes don't want to go anywhere. That's a very real challenge for anyone who's not tried writing tunes yet, who's been watching this. What if the tune doesn't want to go anywhere? In that case, I would view that as almost like a toddler who doesn't want to go out of the front door, doesn't want to go to nursery, but you have to go. So you maybe just have to kind of pick them up and like drag them out the door. And musically, and I think I've been through a lot of this. I think, Gavin, you know my usual tips for that are be like, just force the tune to go somewhere else by changing the last note of a phrase, or any of my techniques that I've probably mentioned to you a billion times, just about nudging it along. Certainly the last notes of the phrases can send you off, and that can be, if you find a really good different last note of a phrase which takes you somewhere, that would be, go back to the metaphor with the child again, that would be like suddenly the door is open and the child is going, oh, I want to go out now. Hope that makes sense. Also, I like that comment. Michael Bishop, do you ever have two versions of a tune? Oh, I have. What do you mean? Like when I'm writing the tune, I'll have like I'll have lots of different prototypes for each phrase, and as I keep chewing it, keep playing it, I'll end up just selecting the one that feels the best, the one that feels the least clunky. I say this all the time. It's so much like electricity. The one that where the energy just flows the quickest and kind of falls forward. If there's a bit of a phrase that's like a blockage, like a note that just goes up too high, or that feels like you're going, it's almost like going around an assault course, and it's like, wow, that's just too big. I want to smooth that out or whatever. But that's not really answering your question. You're saying, do I have two versions of a tune? I certainly have within. So like the Road to Errogie, I have two different ways of playing. I seem to always talk about this tune. I've got three different ways of playing that phrase. The original one was. And that high beat could be a low beat. But that's not a totally different version of the tune. Eric Davidson, contrast the tune as an Eastern European dance or an Egyptian ceremony or a falling sycamore seed. I need you to tell me a little bit more about what you're getting at, because I might be being a bit thick here. Contrast the tune as an Eastern European dance. I just like where you're going with that. I want to make sure I understand you correctly before dealing with that, because, yeah. NSW, sorry, I think I'm a bit late to the party. The Europarty, welcome, Ines. Ines, did I see you playing a tune of yours on Instagram yesterday on the mandolin? That was you, wasn't it? Awesome. Absolutely loved seeing that. Yeah, I actually have some thoughts in this about how you could like arrange that tune, nothing to do with. I wouldn't change the tune at all. But I think you probably are already thinking what I'm thinking. But it's like the big notes. You could make them into like brass section parts if you wanted, or string section parts, or you can just tell me to get lost. But if you want to, we could chat about that. Michael Bishop, force the tune with Maxwell's Silver Hammer. What's Maxwell's Silver Hammer? I feel like I should be getting that reference. More info, please, Michael Bishop. Sounds violent. Some great questions and comments here. But yeah, I just feel like yeah, for me, I'm trying to learn the piano just now, and I'm just so happy. I'm like a real beginner, and I'm just trying to learn how to play arpeggios, basic stuff, really basic stuff. And it's just, I just know at some point I'm gonna stumble across some phrases that I'm gonna end up being tunes, but I'm not setting out to write on the piano at all. I'm just enjoying the brain gym of, wow, 10 fingers. They all have to have their independence of mind, and just solving the problems in my technique, and just finding that out. And so learning an instrument and letting yourself get distracted, I suppose, is what I'm saying, has been something that I've loved finding. Have I spoken about that term about music composition being like archaeology yet? I know Stefan Grappelli, the great gypsy jazz violinist, said, I found this tune, and I wish I could remember who it was speaking about how composing is more like, I think it was someone on TikTok I was chatting with, composing is more like archaeology, digging up what's already there. And I couldn't agree more. The other analogy is like people who sculpt things out of like marble or whatever. They say it was already there, they're just revealing it. I feel like it's the same with, certainly my experience of writing tunes is like you're finding what's already there. And this tune, Europarty, I don't feel like I wrote that. I just discovered it was fun to go. And yes, I wrote it as in I decided to like create this story from it, but it was already there. I really feel that that's definitely the case. And for me, like trying to learn an instrument and just, you end up just stumbling across, it's like the equivalent of learning an instrument. For me is the equivalent of going in, being an archaeologist and going into the dig and just like digging. But you're not actually looking for anything, you're just enjoying digging. But inevitably you do just like put the shovel down and you get a clink. Whoa, what was that? Something shiny. Rub away the sand. Oh, there's something here. Oh, there's some writing. Open it up. Whoa! Or open it up. Ah, zombies! Ah, run! Whatever. Yeah. Oh, hey, NSW. Yeah, just ping me a wee message and maybe sort out a Zoom or something. So, yeah, thank you all. That's 36 minutes of me waffling. This has been about Europarty and how I kind of stumbled across these notes and just this tune just kind of revealed itself. Yeah, it's from my first album, Squall, which is available on Bandcamp. And if you really want to, I will post you a copy if you buy it on Bandcamp. But I think you can certainly get it digitally as well if you want to go with the old Spotify. I'm toying with the idea of taking things off Spotify, but yeah, that's a whole other conversation. Okay, thank you so for tuning in. I'm really thirsty. Mentioned that at the start. I'm going to go and get like a really large, like liter. Well, a liter is not large, it's just a liter. I'm going to go and get a liter of water. Thank you for your patience with my CO2 thing. Eric saying a tune called Ladies, Fancy and Kirsty's does similar. Do you mean similar in terms of like, wait, yeah, tell me similar to what exactly, just because I want to understand you. And yeah, so I'll just play the tune a couple more times. And anyone who watched last week's will know that random chord at the end of E flat was called the Dunvegan ending, and it's just a fun thing to chuck at the end of whatever you're playing. Random chord. A couple more comments before I say cheerio. My tune says your tune teases us. Where's the next turn? Cool, I like that. I'm happy with that. I think a good tune does kind of tease you. Just tickles you under the chin. And just goes, come on, this way, this way. No, actually this way. No, this way. Or the other thing I like with a tune is you're writing a tune, you kind of like, I'm full of metaphors. Some better than others. Writing a tune or entertaining someone is kind of like, you know, when you have a kitten and you've got like a bit of string you're pulling across the floor, and the kitten's going running after it, and it never quite gets it, but you just take it on a journey and it just goes around. That's what I feel like writing a tune is like, and hopefully the kitten is interested in the bit of string, i.e. hopefully the listener cares where the tune's going and can't get enough and wants to know. That's it's the same with being on the stage and all that. You want to just keep people entertained and you want to be like not losing them. So I'm very happy with that comment, Eric, that the tune teases you. Yay, delighted with that. Thank you, Gavin, for your support, and thank you, Michael Bishop, as well, for your support, and Jessica, thank you very much. Like I said, it's very pretty. Thanks for playing. I appreciate that. Appreciate it, all of you. Big shout out to my Patreon subscribers, Jessica, Michael, and Gavin, and everyone else who comments and comes here regularly. Thank you so very much indeed. It would be lonely if I was just doing this on my own, so I really appreciate you guys showing up. Also, a big shout out to everyone who's watching quietly at home or wherever you are, and those in the future, hello. So yeah, I'm gonna say a big cheerio from me any second now. Can I get the other screen up here? Let me see. Let's see. Can I just quickly finish off with this? Oh, this is so smooth. I am nailing this. Thank you all very much.